The Sentinel is known to be reliable, fearless, disciplined, consistent, courageous, motivated, and skillful.
So do what you feel passionate about. Take chances.
All these qualities start from the mind. Your mind can be your worst enemy or your most powerful weapon.
The world becomes your library to help you to become better at your craft.
Is this the dagger?
Learn how to achieve greatness and tap into the Sentinel mindset.
This episode is brought to you by The Arena. The Arena focuses on helping law enforcement and security professionals achieve their ultimate work experience, curriculum, and fitness goals. Visit thearenatoronto.com.
Okay, well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to this amazing episode of the Sentinel Mindset. Now, I'm very excited today because we have three incredible humans in here right now representing Hamilton Police Service. And who are they? Well, we're going to start off first with Sergeant Ryan Smutnicki. Okay, we have beside him Cadet Flamur Planna, and last but not least, we have Staff Sergeant Jon Curtis. How are you guys doing today?
Yeah, really good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah?
This is great.
Okay, we're going to get the mic nice and close.
There we go.
Because he has, actually, I was going to say, you got a nice radio voice as well.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so what we want to do here right now is just have a very brief introduction, who you guys are. I've had a chance to read your bios, and they're quite impressive. But why don't we start with you, John?
Okay. So personally, I'm born and raised in Hamilton. Went to St. Thomas More School for high school. Went to Niagara College for police foundations. Was lucky enough to get hired by Hamilton Police. My first day of police college was 9/11. So we're sitting in the boardroom in Hamilton waiting to go sign up at OPC in Aylmer, and the planes hit the towers. So it's kind of like, where were you that day? I'll kind of never forget. That was my first kind of official day.
Really?
And since then, I got hired by Hamilton, fortunate enough to work uniform patrol, some plainclothes units, a couple of promotions along the way, and now I'm a staff sergeant in charge of our communications, so 911 call center for the entire region of Hamilton.
Amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. Okay, that's great, and let's go right to you.
So my name is Flamur Planna. I moved to Hamilton when I was 7 years old, and I played basketball my whole life, and now I'm really into Muay Thai, and on my free time I like to fish.
Okay, nice. Well, you got the height for both sports.
yeah. And I'm a cadet with the Hamilton Police Service.
Okay, amazing, and very not least, Sergeant Ryan. Sergeant Ryan, how are you doing, man? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
So Ryan Smutnicki, born and raised in Welland, Ontario. Went to Niagara College just like John for police foundations. Hired with the Hamilton Police in 2008. Did my time in uniform patrol in the East End. Had the opportunity to do some plainclothes work as well, working guns and gangs, and had the opportunity in 2021 to begin the administrative side of policing in recruiting.
Okay.
And I've been there since.
Okay, and a lot of my conversations have been with you, Ryan, and one thing that I was reading about you is that you have been responsible for hiring over 100 sworn recruits in the last 2 years, along with over 20 cadets.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
We've been busy.
Yeah. So let me ask you guys. Let's just start off by saying, let's talk to the OGs, to the vets right now. You guys have been in there for a minimum a decade. Okay, you've seen a lot. How do you still feel about policing today? Obviously, and I'll ask this question. I'll set it up like this. For myself, I always wanted to be a police officer, and I chose a different path for whatever reason, but I still have that passion. Like, it's inside me. Now I don't do the job on a day-to-day basis, but I'm always curious. How do you guys feel about policing today? Does it feel the same way that you first applied? Has it changed? Has it evolved? What's it like now?
Go ahead, John.
Just going to pass it over to me. It's definitely changed and evolved. To be honest and upfront, I haven't been in a uniform patrol capacity, which is what I think is the core of policing, in about 7 years. So I can tell you that I still love coming to work. I love being challenged, and I feel that coming in, especially working in the city that I was born and raised, you're helping, giving back to something bigger than yourself, right? About community service, community engagement, whatever that looks like, just trying to make things a little bit better than the way we found it. So I still enjoy my job. I love working in Hamilton, and yeah, things are different. You heard about these things called cell phones that these guys have
yes,
now.
yes.
So this wasn't really a thing when I started, but the technology and the fast-paced way that that's moving, it's kind of exciting. Some of the things that we have coming up, some of the things we're trying to do in Hamilton. So it's still an exciting place to work, and I love it.
Amazing. How about yourself, Ryan?
Yeah, there's no other job that I can see myself doing, and there's nothing else I've ever wanted to do but become a police officer. Happy to come to work every day. I look forward to it. Times have changed from since I started, and by no means have I been around forever. But yeah, I mean, the scrutiny among police officers has definitely become a thing.
Okay.
And I can see it now. When it comes to people, just hesitant on maybe even putting in their application for something that they once thought of doing. And, I think that's where we come in as recruiters, and we remind them that this job it's an awesome job.
Yeah, so it's so important as a recruiter, that passion still flares inside you because you're trying to get that come out of somebody that's applying.
Absolutely.
Now, I also noticed here in your bio that you've hired over 10 young athletes from coaching and mentoring. What is your, if you're going to break this down, because I think there is a tie-in with sports, okay, and what some traits from playing a sport that can tie into policing.
Absolutely. Growing up, being a part of whether it was competitive hockey teams, competitive baseball teams, I think it began my interest in policing. I always had leaders and coaches who were police officers. And I saw how well respected they were by the parents, the players, opposing coaches, even the refs. And it always interested me. These were people that I looked up to, and ultimately who I wanted to, do something similar to what they were doing. And it was a no-brainer. Once I finished, I began coaching competitive hockey once I was done high school, and had the opportunity to now kind of give back, but also, see people who reminded me of myself when I was younger, and, mentor these young athletes who have now since, 21, 22, 23, have come in as cadets, come in as police officers, and I can say when I coached them, it was a pleasure coaching them. They were leaders, hard workers, good teammates, and all that stuff relates to policing, because you quickly learn that when you're a part of a shift, those who have been involved in team sports their entire life, they can adapt quickly, and they get along with everyone on the shift, and they're just a pleasure to be around. So
we actually talk about that quite frequent in our friends group, and it's not a rule, it's not an always, but people that have participated in team sports or even activities that require coming together as a group are often better suited for the teamwork environment that you see in policing. And even better, if I can, because I'm selfish, I like to make it about me. So I played basketball growing up, and I don't know if you noticed out there, I'm 5'10" and slow. So obviously that didn't go very far. But in high school, I was never the best player, but my job was to try to work the starters hard in practice. I understood that my role would be to give people a rest or to play if someone got injured, whatever the case might be. So people that see you're working towards something bigger than yourself will often fit well into a career of policing, because it is a team sport, and we have to work together to accomplish our goals.
Okay, no, listen, that's pretty amazing, because again, when we relate back to like a lot of sports, right, there's a lot of elements or traits that happen there, like working with a team, right? Yeah. And now more than ever before, like you hear coaches for any sporting team say, doesn't matter how skilled you are, if you have a poor attitude, for example, I don't want you on my team, right? Because you'll affect the rest. Okay, so that's good to know. We can tie that analogy. You guys see so much, okay, especially when it comes to like people wanting to come in and become a police officer. What would you say if someone's listening right now? That there's a lot of people that want to get into the police service. Like thousands of people are applying every year, and we go to colleges and we talk to even our workforce. There's a desire there. What would you say are some key indicators that you look for that set people apart from the rest?
I think it simply starts with just being a good person. Someone that can come into a room, get along with everyone, strong interpersonal skills. Again, I'll bring it back in. They've been a part of a team. This isn't new to them, right? They're able to, show up day one and kind of see where they fit in and establish their role as, the learner. They're going to learn from the experienced officers, and they're going to take everything in, ask questions. Of course, not too many questions.
Yes.
But, I think it starts with just being a good person, because those are the people that we want to work with, and those are the people that we want, out in the community, responding to calls for service, and helping us gain that trust back from the community. Okay.
No, that's good. And, one gateway to get into the police service could be through a cadet program. And today, who we're looking at is Flamur right now, who can basically maybe explain to us, first of all, why you wanted to get into policing. Now, you're currently a cadet.
Yes, I am.
And I know just by reading about you a little bit, your inspirations are to get that chapter closed and move into policing fully as a fourth class constable.
Absolutely.
Right.
My story starts off in a small neighborhood called Oriole Crescent.
Okay. Where's that?
So it's in the East End in Hamilton, Ontario. So in the neighborhood I grew up, it was pretty rough. We had a lot of crime in the neighborhood, and because of that, there was a very high police presence at all times. And growing up, we never actually really liked the police, and because of that, whenever the police were around, we'd hide from them, run away from them. But we had basketball, and that's how we all fit in together.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day at the community center near our neighborhood, there was a program that started, and it took over our basketball, and it was called CrossFit, Fortis Vitam CrossFit. And that's when I met John. I would have been in grade 6, so I would have been around 12 years old.
Okay.
And we came in. They weren't wearing their uniform, but we were able to establish this connection with these officers who they treated us as if like we were their own children, which was insane to me at that time.
So when you're like seeing them come in, like, are you, because you already have this guard up to policing, right? Because of the environment that you're in. When you first see them coming in, is your first thought as they start approaching you, like, do you have trust?
Absolutely, and the trust wasn't there at first.
Yes. Yeah.
But because of John and the officers, that for no reason, they did not have to do what they did, reached out to us, and they took care of us and took us under their wings and made sure we stayed on the right path. I remember you got us shoes at one point, like a bunch of us, and shirts, and
wow,
not a lot of us had all those stuff, right? So having that officer like John, who eventually became my mentor, was like life-changing.
Okay, I'm going to pause for a second. John, let's go back to that date.
Yeah.
Okay, from your perspective, you come in and you see a bunch of kids playing ball. Why did you feel you had this notion, I want to go and help and try to make a connection? Like, was that your notion from the beginning?
No, so and you can edit and cut me off when you want, but I'll go back to the origin. So I drank the Kool-Aid of CrossFit back in the early 2010s, 2011. So I was at Stony Creek CrossFit. A couple of my friends, Mike and Jeremy, were actually really into it, so it got me signed up. I was kind of looking for something different than traditional gym. Hate to say it, back then, 30. I thought I was old, but time goes on. So I started doing that, and then by getting involved in CrossFit, I started getting some certifications to be able to coach. And then I learned about a program in the States called Steve's Club, and it started in Camden, New Jersey, which at the time had the highest murder rate per capita. It was actually a police officer that started it, and he ended up same type of idea, very organic. Started off doing CrossFit with youth, and then it turned into a national program. If you ever have an opportunity to look up Steve's Club, it's pretty impressive. So I kind of begboard and stealed equipment from various CrossFit gyms across the region. Shout out Alex Sibry from Element in Mississauga, Oakville area. He's such a solid guy, always willing to help out. So he gave a lot of equipment, Stony Creek CrossFit, Outlaw in Stony Creek as well. So we kind of got all the equipment together that way. And at the time I was working in the East End, there was a rec center in Oriole Crescent, and they had a Boys and Girls Club there. So we were looking, some other friends of mine on the shift were trying to find ways to help out with the community. And there had been, he's being a little bit humble about the type of neighborhood, like rough neighborhood. We're not talking like teenagers hanging around. We're talking about guns, drugs. It's a dangerous place, like violent crimes. So it was identified as a hot spot. So we thought, what better way than to just kind of go in and see what we can do to start engaging the youth. And that's how it starts. I know there's studies, and I don't know the ages, but there's a certain point where I don't want to say it's ever too late, but you have to get them when they're young, right?
Right.
And start having that change things around. So we were in there. The Boys and Girls Club, basically they played ball every night from
8 to 10.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we basically got them to agree to let us have 2 nights a week.
Yes.
And it was like, if you're going to stay in the gym, this is what you're doing.
Yes.
So I don't want to say like we hijacked them, but we hijacked them.
Yes.
And then just what Flamer said, we started developing, that would have been 2012.
Yeah, 2012.
Yeah. So we started the program that way and just building their trust. And at the time we had like numerous, I want to say like probably 20 or 30.
Yeah,
guys.
honestly, like some days there would be 40 kids that would come to the McQuestion basketball. So you would have hijacked like 40 of us.
Yeah, so that like sends my anxiety through the roof if we have only 3 or 4 coaches trying to hurt 40 cats that already don't like you. And then so as far as how things developed, and then I learned about a program that started in Toronto actually called Pro Action Cops and Kids, started by John Bitov Sr. in the late 90s. And basically they fund programs. It's a charitable organization that funds programs aimed at bridging the gap between police and youth in the community. And like sky's the limit for your creativity. So I reached out to Pro Action and through a grant approval process was able to get some funding to get some proper equipment, to get shoes, shirts, food. Like I could tell you stories that I don't know if he wants me to share about. Like you have no idea how rough it is for some people, and this was their outlet, this was their safe space. So we give them a pair of shoes, and it's like changed the world for them, right? So through Pro Action Cops and Kids, been able to keep this program running still to this day. We've changed locations now. We're in Eva Rothwell Center in Hamilton, still a well-served but at times challenging neighborhood. Down in the north end of Hamilton, they've got in the rec center a food bank, clothing donation program, after school and before school program for kids. Tons of programs running out of this rec center, so we're able to continue things going. But that's kind of how.
And then you guys basically just built this relationship over the years, and a mentorship was almost created.
Yeah, and then Flamer, through his time in high school, would go check out his basketball games. He would come to watch my kids' hockey games, and then he's actually got 2 brothers that like also joined the program. I don't know. It's I've been really fortunate to have. He says that he looks up to me, but I get more from him, trust me, than he gets from me.
And
for real.
It seems like you guys both love basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so this is interesting. How old are you?
I'm 22. I'm turning 23 next month.
Okay, and I already have a rough idea what you said based on what you said.
Go ahead.
So you're about my age right now. So I'm going to ask. This is so off topic.
Yeah.
Who is the greatest basketball player? Who is the greatest basketball player?
Listen, I'm biased. I always loved Kobe growing up.
Okay,
like Kobe is my favorite of all time.
That's
but
also a suitable answer. Just don't come around here with your LeBron.
Right? Okay, that's a side note. Okay, great. So let's go back right now. So when did you click now?
Yeah.
To say, man, like I think I have this protector, like DNA inside me. And by the way, I always reference that for people getting into policing. You know, it's a common denominator factors like they usually because they want to help others. There's a protector inside them. I want to help others, and sometimes you know it. Sometimes you just go through your life doing so much to help others, and you're like, I actually am a protector. You don't realize that for yourself. When did you get that spot where you're saying, man, I want to do this?
So growing up in the neighborhood that I did, as I grew older, I started to question a lot of things. And one of those things that I did question was, why did Jon do that? He had no need to do that. He still would have went home to his kids. And I constantly questioned that. And as I grew older, it eventually became my goal that I want to have the same effect on the community that Jon had on me. And what better way to do that than as an officer?
Wow. You know, what's so profound about this is that you started off in your life not having a like for the police.
Mm-hmm.
And through influence, through mentorships, through observation, you got to that point where you're saying, I want to do this.
Absolutely.
Like, it's such a change. You know what I mean?
It is for sure. And a lot of my friends that I have now, they don't know like my past, and I don't openly talk about it too much to people when I meet them. But it's weird when you think about it. But having the Hamilton Police, I almost feel like I owe it to the Hamilton Police like service. I want to be a police officer, but only for Hamilton.
Now, did you ever think that your past would influence your future? Meaning, as in, oh man, I come from this background. Do I have a chance? Did that ever come into your mind and your thinking?
It did, for sure. But once again, because I had John there, like he kept me on that straight path. He kept me smart almost. I knew what was right. I knew what was wrong. And I was able to stay out of trouble regardless of the circumstances. And that's all because of like John and the Hamilton Police Service.
And I know some of those kids from that, like that origin story of that first night. And like, we won't bring up names in a podcast, but of course. There's ones that have committed murders. There's ones that have unfortunately passed away. There's ones that aren't, like, there's ones that aren't him. You know what I mean? So, it's a testament to his commitment. He believed in something and he's following it through. And again, I don't want to embarrass him in this format, but like, he's been working full time since he was in grade 10. Like, he had to make that choice in grade 10 to take a full-time job while full-time in high school to help support his family. Like, this is an amazing man right here.
Yeah.
Really, really proud of him.
Listen, that's amazing. And I think also I want this to be like a message of hope for those people that may have been very similar in your story, where they grew up in a rough environment, or they were influenced in a certain way that, hey, that doesn't dictate, your past does not dictate your future, right? You have an opportunity to make a change and a shift. And all you got to do is demonstrate that and articulate that when you get to that point of change.
For sure. So,
you've been on right for how long as a cadet?
I got hired in September of 2022.
Okay, so you're fresh.
I'm fresh.
How's your experience so far?
Talk a bit about what your assignment and
so I'm a cadet with the Hamilton Police Service, and I'm currently assigned to the traffic services unit, the traffic safety unit, sorry. And as a cadet, you get 6-month placements. So after 6 months, you go to another placement, and you get to see a little bit of everything in policing, right? But in all honesty, like, I knew it was going to be fun, and I knew it was going to be great, but I had no idea it was going to be this fun, to be quite honest with you.
You wake up every day.
Every day. I am so excited to go to work. I remember the first 3 weeks, I was like shaking of excitement to get into work. I couldn't sleep from the excitement.
Yeah. That's amazing.
And
I'm actually getting excited for you hearing that, because I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
I think I'm actually going to try to work in the traffic unit. That's how exciting it is.
And even getting in the traffic guys, I love them. They're they've been nothing but a family to me. Like, my traffic safety unit, they're amazing. The leadership skills, the way they're so knowledgeable, and they're so good at passing down that knowledge. And I remember when you told me I was going to traffic, he pulled me aside because everybody wants patrol, right? And he told me, listen, the traffic unit is going to be one of the best things about this cadet program.
Right.
The amount of knowledge in that unit alone is absurd. It's insane. And to be able to have that knowledge passed along to me, I'm very, very thankful for that.
That's so good, man. I'll say this, you can see it beaming from you. This is not fake. You're not just doing this because you got some higher ups in here right now.
No.
But what I'll say is that this video stamp in your life, one should always look back to this.
Yeah.
To look at the joy that you have right now, and don't lose that, okay? Because over time, we always say this internally within our organization. The honeymoon phase is always referenced to as the most joyous, glorious time frame of a relationship. And when that phase evolves, it can either evolve to something nicer, or it can sometimes go into a different direction, which causes separations, divorces, the whole 9 yards. But if you stay grounded to what you're saying right now and why you're doing this, you'll look back 30 years later, and this is even a message to you guys. To look back 30 years and be like, wow, this is what I was able to do. And this job is a very fulfilling job. So I want to just do a little segment here. Many people are applying to the police service every day. Okay?
Yeah.
However, I find that a lot of people don't understand what they're applying to, right? They may look at it as just a job. This is something that, is going to pay well, that has great pension, that has great benefits. I get to have a gun, whatever the thinking could be in their mind. But I want to hear from you guys. How important is it to know what this job is, and how should you navigate it to try to learn what this job is?
I think it's important. Obviously, we see many different types of applicants. We have the applicants who, wake up one morning and they say, I'm going to be a police officer and I'm going to start the process today. And, you quickly learn after you see their application, their personal informational questionnaire, their resume, that, they haven't done nearly as much as someone like Flamur has, in the sense where, they've been involved in the community. They've been volunteering in the community for the past couple of years. They've did post-secondary education, whether it was police foundations, any type of social science in university, and all while they're working full time. The cost of living these days is pretty ridiculous, and we don't often expect the applicants to do all of those three things. I mean, you're working full time. The last thing we want to see is someone, going and putting in another 10 hours volunteering that same day. But we want to see consistency. We want to see you do something that you enjoy doing, and that's why I'd say to a lot of applicants, when you choose your volunteer in your community service, pick something you enjoy doing. Because before policing, I was a security guard at the Seaway Mall in Welland, and once I was done my 10-hour shift, 12-hour shift, I went and coached hockey. It was easy for me because it was something I loved to do, right? To go on the ice with the kids, it was like another job that I enjoyed to do. So it was very easy, as opposed to, someone coming in who's interested in policing and they've heard that volunteer is important, so they just, get involved in something that they're not necessarily passionate about. It's not easy to go, let's say to a shelter.
Yes.
After a hard day's work, and now you're dealing with problematic situations that aren't easy to deal with, and you're a volunteer, you're not getting paid. So I just tell people, be mindful of what you commit to, because we want people who are committed to something that they start. But a lot of people, they just they don't know these things. Yeah,
and that's good. No, look, and that's important. And earlier, like when I was asking you, what is something that you look for, you said, well, it's being a good person, right? And being a good person. Someone like, well, what do you mean? What does that mean exactly? Well, there's many ways you can tell someone's attitude, someone's body language, all these things. But let me ask you guys this, and I'll throw this out to anyone to answer. What should the mindset be of an individual looking to apply into a police service?
I think someone that wants to obviously help people, right? We're constantly responding to calls, and you're dealing with people on the worst day of their life, right? Whether it's they just lost a loved one, they need your help, they want advice, and it's gonna be repetitive. You're gonna be constantly going to sometimes the same types of problems, but it may be the first time that person's ever called the police, right? And that's where being a good person comes into play, right?
That's it.
Treat every call like it's your first, because, like I said, it could be that person's first time ever calling the police, and they love the police. We want to leave that house, with that lasting impression that, they ever need us, they're not going to hesitate to call us again.
Okay, that's good. What about any thoughts on you guys on
just the same thing? I had an old sergeant tell me, like, treat every call like it's your grandmother, right? How would you deal with somebody like that, or how would you help, or how would you have to arrest somebody? We were kind of chatting on the way down too, because Flamur was asking about policing in the city we grow up in, or that you're in, and I think that if you just try to treat people like give and take, treat people with the respect that you would want, and then some, and you're never gonna really have a problem, even if you have to do things that they don't want you to do or you don't agree with, right?
I like that tie-in, how you said, like, treat like your grandmother. I used to work in the social services department for the city in a homeless shelter, and one of the mantras there was, or the statements was, somebody's father, somebody's son, somebody's brother. And, you know, the reason, it was an all men's homeless shelter, but that was, for me, it always resonated, because when you start placing the human side of something into anything, it changes your perception. So as you said, visualize maybe you're helping someone's grandmother, you're coming to a call, where we do at the arena, where we do these prep circuits. When they get to the dummy drag and they're so fatigued by then, we tell them, imagine that's your mom or your dad or your brother or sister, and let's get them past to the finish line. You got to help them out. It changes their mindset. So that's good. I like that analogy. What about for yourself? You're fresh. What do you think the mindset should be of an individual, you know, getting
going into policing?
Yeah.
So I was actually going to say the exact same thing John said. I had an officer tell me, treat everyone as if you want your treat everyone the way you want your mom to be treated by the police. And as an officer I greatly respect, and then he's in the traffic safety branch as well. And
you can say his name.
It's Trevally, PC Trevally.
Okay, shout out to Trevally. All right,
he's been awesome. He's been one of those guys that look out for me, and he's awesome. Like, he's got so much knowledge, and he's a good dude.
I like that. Now, since we're talking about mothers and grandmothers and all that, how important is empathy in policing?
Extremely important, that's for sure. When you go to a call and they're having the worst day of their life, it's important that, like, you're able to not put yourself in their shoes, but at least try, and you're never going to understand what they're going through, but try to understand what they're going through. Okay, no, that's good. Any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think building trust, and sometimes we don't have weeks or months to build relationships with people and gain that trust in order for them to tell us what actually happened. And I've been on both sides of the house where you deal with victims. You want to help them, and you want to help them as soon as you can. So you want to get as much information from them so that you can help them. And that just comes down to having a normal conversation. Again, it could be the worst day of their life, and it's not going to be easy for them to tell you exactly what happened, but be personable, empathetic.
Yes.
And that goes with maybe someone that you've arrested. Treat them like a human being, right? Treat them like you'd want to be treated, because you may get some valuable information that could lead to some bigger stuff.
Absolutely. And I think you're so dead on. The approach of just having that mindset and the body language that comes with it. I'll give you an example. I just met you guys.
Yeah.
Okay. And then everything about how I'm talking, you guys seem like I'm very open to communicating with you because you're so open, and you're reciprocating that back to myself. That to me as an example of, when you're doing that in policing, you're winning because you're getting the community to buy in.
It's funny because as he's saying that, I don't know if you got this story. One of our teachers in college, Mick Riddle, an old detective from Niagara. I don't know how old the man would be now, but the story that I will never forget until the day I die. He told us, working in Thorold back in the day, I guess it was like a shipyard, lots of longshoremen in and out, so troubles on the weekends, drunks, fights, all this. So the one day he's just walking the beat, he sees this guy, and he's not a very big man, but he sees this guy taking a leak in the corner on the street. Usually this would be the opportunity to rough somebody up, drag him to the station, give him a ticket. Well, I guess he treated this man with respect, brought him to the station, let him go, I don't know, helped him along at some way that was a positive interaction, where there was definitely an opportunity for it not to go that direction. He says, I'll butcher the story if I don't, I'll let the man tell it one day. But,
yes.
He tells a story about going into like a hotel back in the day, like a bar, and this giant of a man is just ripping the bar apart, fighting everybody, all this. And again, he's not a big man, but he goes in, and it's his job as this new officer to go sort this out. So as he goes into the bar, I'm not coming with you, and it's going to be a fight. And then all of a sudden he says he hears the voice of God, and behind him, like, Jim, you better go with that officer. I don't want any trouble. Well, it was the guy from the other night, happened to be the union president of the longshoremen. And then he brings this 6'4" guy into the station with zero problems. So I'm not suggesting you need to treat people well, because tomorrow you might need them to help you. But of course, if you just pay it forward, treat people well, good things will come, right?
I love that, man.
And just to touch on that too, I think one of the biggest tools we have as police officers is discretion. I would much personally rather build a really good relationship with if it's a really, a bad person in the city, and they've done something that we have discretion that could potentially lead to something bigger for us to work on, by simply just saying, have a nice day, don't do that again. I think that will solve a bigger problem in the long run. Nice. So discretion, and we work in a steel city where people are constantly working hard, right? They're during the Christmas time, I always said when I was in uniform, I'm not going to pull over someone who just finished 12 hours at the steel factory, who ultimately are working to get their family Christmas gifts.
Right.
Pull them over, give them a warning, and there's a good chance they won't be speeding again.
Absolutely. That's amazing. I love that. Positive policing. It's amazing. Because a lot of people are going to look at Flamur's journey, okay, and they're going to say, man, I want to really go down this road. And we know that not all police services have a cadet program, okay, but let's focus right now on Hamilton, because this is what this is all about today. We want not only for the region of Hamilton, but we want the GTA. If you're planning, maybe move to Hamilton. If that's
you guys are driving our house prices up. You
exactly.
can just drive to Hamilton.
Exactly.
You don't need to move.
Absolutely. But it's still a good market. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
So why don't we talk about, if somebody wants to get into a cadet program, maybe explain a little bit about what that path is, because someone might be thinking, should I apply to the cadet program, or should I just apply to be a police officer directly? How should someone differentiate that when they're applying to Hamilton?
So first off, our cadet program, I say it's the best program that we have. It's our feeder system into sworn. I'd say about 90% of our cadets get hired into our sworn. So it allows us to constantly pull, 6 to 8 cadets per OPC intake and put them into that sworn class. It's past proven. It's a 2-year contract, 18 to 25 years old. I'd say that our cadet process is just as competitive as our sworn, but we allow our cadet applicants to kind of lack in an area, because we recognize that they've been busy with education, working full-time, so they may not have done as much volunteer work as someone from a sworn applicant.
Okay.
And so they come through. They don't need the OACP certificate. They do need CPR first aid. And like I said, it's a very competitive process. We typically do 2 to 3 classes per year.
Okay.
April, October, and then we just did one for January. And those classes range anywhere from 6 to 12. And once you become a cadet, you're exposed to many different areas within the service. Right now, Flamur's in traffic. We have cadets in each division. So while working at each division, you're either on the road with a constable, attending calls for service, and doing everything that a sworn police officer would do. You're working the front desk where you're writing reports, taking calls from the public, and you're completing criminal investigations ultimately. Okay. If an arrest needs to be made, then obviously a sworn officer is going to go and attend that location to make the arrest, but there's a good chance you're going to be right there with them because you're the one that have been obtaining all the information.
And how long would someone need to serve as a cadet before they apply?
Anywhere from 6 months to 2 years.
Okay.
So it is a 2-year contract. But again, I think the cadets, they have the advantage for everything that they need to get onto the sworn side of policing, because the minute you become a cadet, you're now working with younger constables who just came through the sworn process. You're gaining references throughout the service who, will be reached out to in your background. And not only that, most importantly, you're gaining life experience. You're going to be able to say, you're probably going to be able to cover off every single question we have in our behavioral interview.
Yes.
From all examples from your experiences as a cadet.
Okay, now you still, as a cadet, have to do a physical as well, right?
Correct.
which
So-
is the prep test.
Yeah, so you do the prep and the beep test as well.
Okay, so let's just ask this because it's something that is very important. It ties in. Many people struggle with the physical portion of it, right? What is your thoughts on preparing for the physical, or really putting some good stock in there, preparing for that?
So to me, the physical component and the fitness testing is just as important as any interview. It's just as important to me as the panel interview, your final interview, where you're amongst commanders, because it's a very important part of policing, right? It's mentally and physically draining on the body. And that being said, too, I mean, if you're in police foundations, if you're a criminology student, or if you finish high school and you know that policing is something that you want to get into, then you should be familiar with the process. And it shouldn't be a surprise when you apply to the police service that you're going to have to be successful with the physical components of it in order to move on in the process. So I'd say fitness is just as important as any type of interview that you're going to.
Okay.
Yeah, and if I could just go dovetail on that with him, like it's not even that you need to be in good physical shape because you have to like save the world, protect yourself, and fight everybody. Like you could get in 0 fights or 0 physical altercations. Don't call it fights in your policing career. But I was always taught a healthy. Here, let me don't mess this up. A healthy mind lives in a healthy body. So you can't have that mindset that's going to give you some good resilience and positive outlook, empathy, if you're not physically well. So it's just you have to invest that in yourself to be the best you can to help out, right?
Okay, that's good.
And Pete Hall says the best ability is availability.
Oh,
so you need to be available.
Yeah,
and yeah,
that's good, man. You guys have been on the job, obviously some fresh and some in it for a while. This is a hard job, so I want people to also understand that what you're walking into is not a super simple job. You're dealing with a very complex job that every day is a new day. You're going to see something different. You're going to experience something different. What do you guys do to prepare yourself mentally for the job before you do it, and to get you there so you can succeed, so you can win?
I think I start my day simply with a daily workout, which, if I don't get that workout in, it's in the back of my mind for that entire day. So the minute the workout's done, I'm ready for my day.
Has to be in the morning.
Typically, yes.
Yeah, I find it very hard to work out.
But it's just something that's important to me because I know once it's done, I don't have to worry about not getting it in throughout the entire day. But yeah, once that's done, I'm ready. I'm dialed in for whatever the task is that day.
Okay, nice. How about you guys? What do you guys do to prepare for the day, mentally win?
Prepare for the day, coffee. And honestly, I said earlier, I really love Muay Thai. That has been like instrumental in like feeling good and staying fit and making sure that I don't get lazy. So for me, it's Muay Thai.
Okay, nice. How about yourself?
So same thing, just keeping up with your fitness, playing sports. I'm off the morning routine of getting the workouts in, but I can agree with Smuts there. Like that's money in the bank. Once you get that workout in the morning, keep going forward. But yeah, anything like that. And our jobs now are more administrative, but I remember when we used to work together in patrol, that little bit of, okay, couple deep breaths, here we go. And because as soon as you log into that computer, log into that car, your time is not your own. And it could be 12 hours guarding somebody at the hospital, or it could be 30 calls in the next 12 hours. You don't know what you're getting, which is very exciting, but it takes a lot of mental focus.
Okay, that's good. For those that are looking to get in as well, who might be fairly new with experience, life experience, what type of jobs would you suggest that they go towards to get that experience? Or may not just be work directly, it could be like everything from volunteering as well. What would you guys suggest could be some good little tips and tricks to kind of...
Just based on my experience working in recruiting, I mean, I've seen all types of tradesmen come in, and I mean, I think we can all agree that tradesmen are hard workers.
Yes. Right?
They know that usually they're getting paid from the time they start to the time they finish, and hard work is no stranger to them. So I mean, those are I've never seen a bad one come through the process. And team guys, they easily fit in on a shift. I tend to follow up and just see how people are doing, because I know that not everyone's going to come from a security background. I often relate putting together my police team just like putting together a sports team, right? You need your grinders, you need your leader, you need your mediator, you need all types of different people that can take on different roles. But customer service skills, we have people that were, sometimes they often say, oh, I just work at a restaurant, I'm a server. And I say, excuse me? You probably have dealt with more complaints than a police officer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you bring a lot of experience. You've dealt with people who've had too much to drink. You've dealt with, I can't imagine how many complaints about orders, and, your job is customer satisfaction, and, you're constantly trying to please these people and make things better. And that's exactly what we do as a police officer.
No, that's good. It doesn't have to be security as an example, because there's a lot of things that can cross-relate. You know what I mean? Any thoughts?
No, I was going to say similar, like two things that makes me think of the last 2 days. I've been involved in hiring part-time, because I work in the 911 call center, so we're hiring part-timers to come into that. And one of the people that applied works at Starbucks. Like, have you ever been at Starbucks when it's busy?
Oh,
like,
it's crazy.
That's some stress. So even though it might not be, the jeopardy of making a mistake might not be the same, but they're able to call upon that multitasking. So there's no real answer, as long as you're not don't take a job as a drug dealer and then think you can get into the police. But no, it doesn't mean there's no set path.
That's good.
And then the other part too, because Smutty's pretty humble. Since, not anything against his predecessors, but since he's gone in there, it is like he looks at it as investing in his friends and his service. Like, we've got a lot of friends in and outside of this job, and some of them that are close to us that work here. He wouldn't want to put somebody on one of his friends' shifts that wouldn't be successful.
Yes.
And then to go even further, he makes them feel welcome. Like, I've watched what he's done to give people their job offers, and he makes it special. Like, we were out one time, we tricked one of the cadets into coming out for breakfast, and you got a menu, you got a menu, you got a menu, and instead of a menu, he got a job offer. So he's really taking pride in what he's doing, making the best candidates, and making them feel welcomed, and making it a good experience when they get here. So
when I'm hearing this, these are all traits of credible leadership. It's actually of servant leadership, right?
Yeah.
Where you're trying to help and build others. So let's segue into leadership right now. And that is, how important is it for someone to attain or to kind of guide their careers incorporating leadership? And I ask that question because in policing, the community, like an individual might say, well, you might say, Flamur, like, hey, I'm a cadet. But the way the community looks at you is that you're actually a beacon. You're a leader, right? You're someone that I can come to. Sometimes you just absorb that title without you even knowing that you're doing it. How important is leadership, would you say, in policing?
Yeah, it's huge. If I can start off, and I always I like quotes in movies and whatnot. So $100. No, I'm just kidding. Whoever can pick where this quote's from. Like, attitude reflects leadership.
Yes.
So you can't expect from people what you're not presenting. So you try to have to come in with a positive attitude. There might be things going on, like Smutnicki has a boss that might be providing him with some direction that's causing stress to him, but he can't let that go down to the people that are working with him, right? And even we're the kind of middle managers at the police, but for Flamur, he's sitting here, might not think of himself as a leader, but when he gets out of the car at that traffic accident, to the people on the scene that might need help, just by him showing up, he's a leader.
Okay.
So you have to be able to carry yourself and present yourself with empathy, confidence, and anyone could be called upon at any time. Like, the chief of police ultimately is our leader and boss, but it doesn't mean that the people working in the maintenance department or the 911 call center or anyone wouldn't have to present leadership skills at some level.
That's right. That's good, man.
It's incumbent on all of us to do that.
No, absolutely. Look, I want to, before we close, I just want to say, I want to individually thank you for what you guys do. You guys do a tough job, okay? And, there's sometimes, it's a thankless job, it's a thankless job. That's the reality of it. And you know, I know we don't do this to get thanks, but I want to thank you guys because you guys do put your lives on the line every day, and you are doing it to help others. So first of all, thank you for that.
No,
okay,
Thank you.
And this is our thank you right here. We get pay it
100%.
forward. We get to see him be successful.
And what's amazing is that you truly are like the new generation, you know, coming in right now, and it's so critical and key, man, that you take that mantle and you help the next generation that comes in, because I'm pretty sure you're not gonna lose the love of basketball, and you're gonna be heading to a community center one day, and you might see your version of yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So-
And I won't pass up on the opportunity to dunk on him though.
Yeah.
Never happened. he knows if he tries, he's getting fouled hard.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'd love to see that too. So as we close, can we just do a shout out right now to Hamilton and just maybe just some links? I do know that there is a class coming up in April that you're probably going to be preparing for, or all services will be preparing for.
So yes, we're looking at hiring 10 cadets for our April class, and we're looking at doing another large class of possibly 24 to 30 for sworn. So in 1992-93, it was back in the Harris days, there was a hiring freeze.
I remember that.
Yeah, and now we're starting to see that where, you know, a lot of people are retiring, and you know, there was those 2 years where we didn't do any hiring.
Yeah.
So we're looking to fill those gaps and continue with large class sizes and lots of hiring.
And if someone wants to apply, once they have their certificate from, you know, for the Ontario Chiefs of Police Office, how do they apply?
So they go on the City of Hamilton portal,
Yeah.
and you'll see the sworn constable position,
Okay.
cadet position, special constable positions. All those are on there all the time. Should they ever have any issues with it, they can simply just go to our website and or send me an email, recruiting@hamiltonpolice.ca.
Okay.
If they have any complications getting through the portal, and that sometimes it does go down on us,
Okay.
which causes some complications. But again, very simple to apply, and very easy for us to get the ball rolling.
Okay, nice. Do you guys ever have any information sessions, or where people can kind of get a little bit more if they want to find out a little bit more about Hamilton?
Yeah. So we host over the past year. We've been hosting prep mentor sessions.
Okay.
We host those at Mohawk College with Shelley Lang, who is a Police Foundation's fitness coordinator there.
Okay.
Nobody knows the prep better than Shelley Lang.
Nice.
She's awesome. And we have Rebecca Bailey, also our wellness coordinator, who assists with that event. And so that's our opportunity to get people who are interested in policing, because it's a 3-hour session. So not only are you doing the prep and the beep test, but you're also socializing and interacting with currently serving cadets, currently serving sworn officers. We're able to meet the recruiting team. We do have information sessions. We have HPS Careers on Instagram.
Okay.
And I think we're at about 500 followers, but because we also do have our Hamilton Police Instagram, which is our main Instagram page handle. But yeah, follow us, HPS Careers. Follow us, Hamilton Police Instagram.
Okay, amazing.
If I could do one thing for my civilian brothers and sisters,
Let's
I
do
don't
it.
want to
Let's
go all
do it.
sworn since I've gone to manage civilians. There's lots of career opportunities for the City of Hamilton, Communications Center, Records Branch. If you are interested in helping the community and getting involved with Hamilton Police, but maybe don't feel that the sworn cadet special constable programs are for you, there's lots of opportunities for civilians as well.
Okay, amazing. Guys, I think, it's pretty amazing today to hear this journey for yourself, Flamur, by the mentor here. John, you've been doing it. I think it's an amazing thing. I think it's so good because we're hearing something real that happened. It's not made up. This is an actual real story. It's a success story. And there's a lot of people listening today that are going to hear this and they're going to sit like, I can do this. Sometimes a lot of people just don't qualify themselves because of their thinking. Their mindset kind of checks them out. So the fact that we can hear this today, is pretty darn amazing, man. And I want to make sure that anyone listening think that anything that you put your mind to, that's someone that you can do it and just kind of push through. And again, maybe the key word here is don't let your past dictate your future, because again, we all have something in our past that shaped us or made us who we are today as individuals.
For sure. And if you have the opportunity, anyone out there too, check out Cops and Kids. There's several programs, Durham, Niagara, Peel, Toronto, similar stories to Flamur's story. There's lots of good being done out there. So let's pump some positivity into this world.
Amazing.
Yes.
And Constantine, if I could just add one thing, we're not done here with Flamur, right? His ultimate goal is to become a police officer, and
Yes.
we're going to continue to mentor him. And hopefully by next year, he's wearing the dark blue
Yeah,
shirt.
maybe we'll do an anniversary episode.
That'd be
Eureka,
cool.
where are they now?
Yeah, where are they now? Exactly. Maybe there'll be no beer, just a goatee or something.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, look, thank you very much. Any last words you want the audience to listen to before we close off?
Thank you to the Hamilton Police.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, really appreciate what you're doing. It's nice to, it's honestly refreshing. Like, this guy thinks everything's amazing. There's days I can assure you that me and Ryan get out of bed and you see something in the media and you're just like,
Yeah.
but to have someone like yourself putting positive vibes out there, and I hope you have a good peer group that doesn't think this is unpopular what you're doing, because it's important that we understand that we're part of the community. We're trying to make things better. Right?
That's it, man. That's it. And make things better. And I honestly, I do see, like, if I'm going to put a prediction for the next 5 to 10 years, I would see that, the public's perception of policing will be much more appreciation. I mean, we look at firefighters rescuing cats from the trees and they're like, looked at as like, these amazing heroes. Again, what you guys do every day is very heroic. And I think that is going to change, because like anything that shifts and moves and evolves, it evolves for the better. So thank you guys for your time today. I'm really looking forward to people listening to this and also to making their career goals become a reality, just like yourself, Flamur.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, guys, everyone have a fantastic day. Kill it, and let's continue growing. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Take care.
This podcast is brought to you by Executive Protection Lifestyle Canada. Make sure to drop by next week and don't forget to subscribe.